My first impression of this EUV was, I can get into a lot of trouble in this car. I might need a radar detector. The 2022 EV6 is available with essentially 3 trims, the Light, the Wind, and the GT line, and also has rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive options available. It's also loaded with great standard features like 19-inch wheels, heated front seats, wireless charging. There's some great collision avoidance safety features thrown in there. So today we will be, of course, talking about the tippy-top trim, the GT line all-wheel drive. So like I said, this has the dual motor all-wheel drive. That's gonna get you 274 miles of range. And with that rear-wheel drive, you're gonna get up to 310, making this EV6 really competitive in the industry. It has 320 horsepower, 446 pound-feet of torque, and like I said, it's super fun to drive. You can get 0 to 60 in just under 5 seconds. It's compatible with a 400 volt and an 800 volt DC fast charger, and with that 800, you can get up to 217 miles of range in 18 minutes, and then you can also get up to 80% charge in about an hour. So again, really great charging times. One of the EV6's pitfalls is kind of the frunk space. While it does have one, it's not super duper functional. It's very small. I'm not entirely sure. I have no ideas on like what I would personally keep in my frunk area, but however, it makes up for it with the cargo space, which we'll show you in a second because it's big. I think most EVs are all late bloomers. They're finally starting to come out of their shell and look really cool. For example, the EV6 looks really sporty and aggressive, especially like the standard LED headlights. They look like they're like glaring at you like, move, get out of my way. This GT line is rolling on dubs with its gorgeous 20-inch wheels, and it also has body color cladding versus the lower trims, which are either going to be like gloss black or matte black. And then another fun fact, it has the same wheelbase as the Telluride, which is going to give you more leg room. However, it is still 10 inches shorter from bumper to bumper than the Telluride. Also, I don't know if I'm the only one that thinks this, but it kind of sort of reminds me of like if they're 4-door Veloster. Like the way the body lines are, like it just reminds me so much of it, which is a compliment because that car looks really good. So this is a super fun feature. This GT line is equipped with the available onboard charging system, which allows you to power or charge large appliances, laptops, e-bikes, camping equipment, whatever your little heart desires, which is just so convenient. Of course it didn't close. How sick does the back of this EV6 look though? I am dying over this LED taillight that goes all the way around both sides, especially the way that it seamlessly transitions into the bumper reflector rather than the bumper reflector just looking like an afterthought stuck on, really dorky. Also, loving the way the spoiler creates, like it helps with like the swoop down there, makes it look so sporty. But my favorite feature that's available on the EV6 is the smart tailgate. Okay, so first you have to run away. Okay, so my car is locked. Pretend that I'm walking back with hands full of groceries. I'm going to keep my hands out of my pocket and it's just going to lift. I don't have to wiggle my foot under no bumper, which is always so gimmicky and doesn't work half the time, and it just opens. See, hands-free. So I got really excited about the Smart Power Liftgate that I forgot to mention that it can tow up to 2,300 pounds, which is an equally as an exciting piece of information. So you have a very functional EV. Now what you see here is not an elbow rest, it is in fact the tail light. So just something we noticed when we were loading equipment in and out to be mindful of this edge. So remember how I said that it makes up with cargo space because that frunk is so small? Well, check it out. Behind the second row, you'll get up to 24 cubic feet of space, and then you can easily access folding down your second row with either side. It's 60-40 folding flat second row. Then you can get up to 50 cubic feet of space. Before we hop into the front seat, I want to show you that extra leg room you get with all of that wheelbase. So you get up to 39 inches of rear leg room. That's with the seat adjusted all the way forward. If I wasn't in heels, I bet you I could legit like straighten out my leg. I'm only 5'1", just for reference. A few other cool things in the GT line. You do have heated seats, which are accessible on your door handle right here. And then behind the driver and passenger seat, there's USB-C charging. And then the cup holder is, I just discovered something kind of interesting. First off, like it's weird that it goes all the way, like it's like sloped down. I don't know that I'm wild about that, but it's gonna hold your drinks. It has this like interesting, like you can make this not a cup holder. You can make it to hold something larger than just your cups, which is pretty convenient. That's a really good idea. I've never seen that before. So let's hop into the front. So this GT line is equipped with the optional black and white interior, which looks fabulous. The seats are vegan leather and suede trim, which is a little bit like going to a vegan restaurant and getting butter spread all over your cauliflower steak. But hey, the vegan leather is from 100% recycled plastic to make it a little bit more sustainable. And both front seats are heated and ventilated. And another cool thing, ventilated seats actually come standard on the Wind rear-wheel drive trim, which is like a lower trim, which is a little bit groundbreaking to have in a lower trim. I think Kia just really wants you to chill out. The best word that I can use to describe the inside is ergonomic, because it is arranged in a way that it's easy to access a lot of the functions while you are driving, especially starting with this center console. I like that they put the wireless charger here, because I know a lot of times they try to put your wireless phone charger where your phone will be less of a distraction for you, and that's like cool and all, but I'm not gonna explain myself. I want my phone right here. Also, you have 2 cup holders, and there's another little fun storage space here near the center console, which could be great for like chapstick or something. And the center console is also like substantial, like literally almost as deep as to my elbow. So loving that. You also have a ton of storage like down in here. I love also that you can access your 360 camera with a button on your center console as well, because sometimes you have to like put it in reverse or be going slow enough for that camera to work. So it's great that I can just always access it at the push of a button. Speaking of that 360 view monitor, ladies, there's no more excuse for curved wheels, and I can say that because I'm a girl. So you have this awesome blind spot view when you utilize your blinkers, meaning it won't be of great use to previous BMW drivers. This is not new for Kia. This has been an optional feature for a long time. I just wish that more manufacturers would jump on this train. And you do have haptic buttons for your ventilated seats and heated seats that I talked about earlier. Right here, there's, it's just nice. My hand like literally like, oh, I want my heated seats on. See how easy that was? I like that. I actually really want the ventilated seats on there. You also have your control for your heated steering wheel. So because of course it's an EV, sometimes that comes in handy. Also, you have, hard to miss, this gorgeous 24 inches of display. You got 12 inches for your infotainment and about 12 inches for your gauge cluster here. And then there's some interesting power controls going on right below that. So you can toggle on this screen to go between your climate controls or your radio controls. And it's just literally one press of a button, super simple. You also have a heads-up display in the GT line, and it's augmented reality, so you'll literally get turn-by-turn driving directions in your heads-up display, meaning that it's gonna just show you more than just like the speed limit and what, like the lane recognition. It also shows you like active road sign displays, which is really helpful. Also super easy to turn off inside of your infotainment system in case you're not into the heads-up distraction. I want to delve in a little bit more to the connectivity beyond just the wireless charging. It is a true wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There's a lot of cars that you still have to plug the phone in first to access the wireless Apple CarPlay, so you don't have to do that. You do have USB-A and a charging USB-C port. Super happy that they're providing us with both because I'm not ready to fully commit to just USB-C. And then to polish this off, you do have ambient lighting, you have a Meridian sound system, which is used in a lot of luxury brands as well as other EV brands. And then you also have a heat pump, which not all EVs do, and that essentially takes wasted heat and then uses it to heat the cabin. So that'll help preserve your battery life rather than using the battery to power your heater to keep your climate nice and toasty. Now let's get to the fun part where we give the keys over to Nick for a test drive.
Okay, so we are driving the all-new 2022 Kia EV6, and I have to say that I've been wanting to drive this thing ever since it was announced. It's just really, really unique looking. It doesn't really look like a crossover. It looks and actually feels more like a wagon. The styling is just really, really different. Everybody looks at it on the road. This particular trim is the mid-level, so it's called the Wind. And it is also the all-wheel drive, so it has two motors, one in the front and one in the rear. This car will do 0 to 60 almost as quick as the Stinger GT, which is a lot to say for an electric SUV. One of the things that really get asked a lot online is how is this car different from the Hyundai Ioniq 5? They do share a platform, but in terms of both the styling and the driving dynamics, they're two really different cars, so they've done a great job making these two models very distinct. And the first thing you notice is the styling. The EV6 is a lot more sporty looking. It looks like a wagon to me and not so much like a crossover, but it drives like a car almost. It feels like a sports sedan and not like a crossover. I think that's probably due to the really low weight of the batteries. It's really aerodynamic, and I don't feel sitting in this car in traffic or on other cars, I don't feel like I'm in an SUV. I actually feel like I'm in more of a wagon. One thing I do like a lot are the paddles that are on the steering wheel here. So you might ask, why are there paddles if there's no gears to shift? It's an electric car. It turns out these paddles actually control the strength of the regenerative braking. So if you upshift, which is basically upshift on the right, you can turn your regen completely off so that when you lift off the accelerator, you're just coasting. There's no resistance, you're just coasting along the road. And you can click into certain levels with your downshift, which is the left paddle. You can go to level 1, level 2, level 3, and max, which basically is like one pedal driving. If you have your regenerative braking in max, you can lift off the accelerator and it feels like you're really getting hard on the brakes. So on the subject of charging time and range, this car actually holds a Guinness World Record for the least amount of charging time to cross the United States. So it's not the fastest car across the United States. You're not going to break any cannonball records, but in order to drive from New York to LA or LA to New York or anywhere for that matter, you're not going to have to spend a ton of time charging because this car charges so quickly. So as long as you're using those DC fast chargers, this car is going to be a great road tripper. Every 300 miles or so, you're going to need a break anyway. So overall, I would say that the EV6 is a really, really great car. One of my favorite cars that I've driven in the past year or two at least. It's definitely one of my favorite EVs out there.
One of my favorite parts about the EV6 and Kia in general is that the battery has a 10-year or 100,000-mile battery warranty, which is a total game changer and gives Kia a huge step up in the EV world today. So if you have any further questions, or if you want to tell me what you think of this EV6, drop it in the comments below. And thank you to Capital Kia for hooking it up with this car. See you later.